What's going on, everybody? How you guys doing? Real quick, let's say hi to a few people. Skynet, Todd Carr, Joseph S, Jay. Jay, I wish I could pronounce your last name real quick. Budget. Say it again.
Korskadin.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. Budget Guy, Mind of Milton, Skynet, Palmer. How you guys doing? Thank you for joining us on the late night Insomniac stream. Speaking of, actually, I feel like a heel, man. I should have sent this link over to Maddie and Stevie, which I will do right now. But how are you guys doing tonight? And we are going to be doing a bit of a marathon live tonight. We're trying out a concept. Crispy Critter, what's going on, brother?
What's up, Crispy?
We are trying out a concept where, since we both like to do Insomniac lives, we're going to kind of start a conversation here on my channel and then transition it over to Work Knives channel. And if you guys are digging it, we could potentially do it again, but we just wanted to put some feelers out there, see how it rolls, and hopefully you guys enjoy the conversation tonight, because that's always kind of the thing, right? Like, you kind of get on a roll in a discussion, and then you've got the time flies by, and then you're like, oh man, okay, well, I guess we'll catch it up like next week, you know?
It's always interesting when you have that conversation, but you know you want to respect someone else. So it's like, should we continue this now or not? And so
yeah,
definitely it'll be an experiment and it'll be fun. Regardless of what happens, it's gonna be fun.
100%. Lauren's in the house. Knife Nuts in the house. What's going on? And so, to get kind of the usual stuff, kind of questions out of the way, what were you carrying today, my friend?
Today, I actually still have it in my pocket. My Christmas present for my wife. It's my Rat 2. It's a custom Rat 2. And so it's got the blueberry carbon fiber. And then it's got battle-worn acid wash to it. And then it's also got the scales, rock scales, I think is what they called it on the back side. Got it from Way of Knife, and I was incredibly impressed. The action... I didn't think they messed with action too much, but the action on this thing is so snappy. Like, that's not me forcing it by any means. It's really good. And I have another Rat 2 right here that I use, and this one's not nearly as snappy. Like, I have to really, really thumb that one. So whatever they did to that, it was very well done. So I was impressed.
Dude, Way of Knife has been killing it, man.
Mm-hmm.
I've been genuinely impressed with all the stuff that they've been doing, and what a Christmas present, dude!
Yeah,
that's sick.
Yeah, she killed it this year. She definitely spoiled me, knowing that I wanted more knives and wanted to customize some stuff.
Yeah,
and one of my favorite colors is blue, which is why the Work Knife Balance logo is blue and stuff. So she definitely killed it with this year. So I was excited.
That's awesome, dude. By the way, what's up, Psycho? How you doing, brother? Nice to always see you. And yeah, dude, I've been really impressed with their work lately. Like, it's been nice to see them they came onto my radar because they're from Michigan. And so, like, as former Michigander,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, oh sweet, let me support businesses from back home. And dude, their quality has been on a steady upward trajectory, and I think this is the best they've ever been,
Yeah, I haven't had anything. I mean, I haven't had anything from them since just this last couple months, and I got another thing coming in that I'm excited about. But people that I know that have used Way Knife from a couple of years past have said the same thing. Like, when they started, they were okay. They weren't bad, but they were okay.
Yeah.
And they've stepped it up year after year, continued that growth, which is really cool to see. especially in a community that cares about customization and wanting to like make your mark and everything. It's really cool. So,
dude,
what's up, Steve?
Steve Claire in the house. What is going on, dude?
Steve, I have these. They are yours. I carry them with me and make sure that nothing ever happens to them because I treat them like babies because I'm very appreciative that you let me use these and borrow them. So I just want to let you know that I'm taking very good care of your knives and I have them right here.
Dude, isn't Steve the best, man?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, One Moon, what's going on? Yeah, Steve's like, he's such a like chill, humble dude who's just got like such an incredibly large heart, you know. All of us in the community, we owe you, Steve. Like, really, like I think that goes without saying, but it still should be said, you know.
Sometimes when I like am thinking about a knife, I will go check Steve's Instagram to see if he has it, so then I could like possibly borrow it before buying it. Like, how is this gonna be? So I did not cut any bumper covers. I did not. No, I thought about it, but I didn't run into any bumper covers. So
what's going on, Maddie? How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. And I sent you the link in the group chat, so you should have it if you would like to hop on with us, Maddie. You're always welcome. Yeah, dude. Actually, I am going to be carrying my my Steve Claire knife tomorrow. Actually, it's weird. Sometimes I pre-plan my carry a little bit.
I do it frequently because I want to once you get to a point in your collection where you're like, I appreciate all of these knives and I want to like carry them all, I feel like you kind of have to. Otherwise you get pigeonholed to like the same knife all the time.
Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude. Mm-hmm.
I haven't gotten to the level of like matching my knife to like my whole outfit and entourage and everything. Like I see people who like everything, like head to toe. Their drip is through the roof, and like their knife, their watch, their bandana, their ring, their wallet, everything is like all together. And I was like, yeah, I don't have the bill fold to buy enough stuff to do that, but it's cool.
It's cool. Sometimes it's a little much. It's like, okay, bro, like, are you? It's funny because like I kind of mentioned it a little bit in the video that I put out today about like American tactical knife people. Like, they don't tend to buy knives for fashion, you know. But there's definitely a good segment of the community who see their knife as like a fashion accessory without.
Oh yeah.
You know,
pocket jewelry is a real thing.
Yes, it definitely is. What up, Cheeto? How you doing, man? Or Cheetomus Prime?
I like that one. No, I like that one a lot. Cheetomus Prime.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I gotta say though, I am a bit guilty of that. Like, I'll go through periods where I'm on a whole like natural tone streak. So like, I'm rocking the natural brown micarta. I've got my brown leather wallets, you know, like everything, even my like watch strap will be like a natural tone, you know? And then I go through like my black periods where it's like wallet, knives, everything, you know, all black all the time, you know? So I can't judge them too much. You know,
if I ever do it, it's usually like a raw titanium because I have a lot of titanium. Like I got raw titanium pen, my rings titanium,
nice.
And then I've got like a lot of just titanium knives. So if I ever do anything, it's usually a raw titanium like run.
Yeah, that's the nice side though of raw titanium is it can literally go in any direction. You know? You're not pigeonholed into a certain color or tone or anything like that, you know? Funny you mentioned that too, because like I was looking at this one dude's loadout, and it's exactly like a mix of that. Show you real quick. This one, just nice Pena Mula special edition. You know, raw titanium, pen and titanium, coin and titanium, and then the Pena slip joint, which is gangster, and the pocket jewelry, which again, he's like mixing the natural tones and the raw titanium really well.
And then he's got the G1000 jacket from Fjallraven there, which is just that like natural tone to it as well. I know, so I work in retail, so that's the only reason I know what that jacket is. But he got that G1000 in the picture just real quick to like, yep, this is this jacket right here.
Oh, he's definitely flexing on people.
That was intentional right there.
110% flexing on people, just to let them know. I mean, as if like the Pena like custom slip joint, the limited edition Mula, and that little worry stone that he's got there, how how much those things go for?
They're like $150-$200.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's knife money for that little worry stone. It's ridiculous.
Now, even the mini bolt pen is probably $150. So, yeah.
That's a definite flexing on the pores situation right there.
Yeah.
But it looks awesome. I can't argue it, honestly.
Palmer Conley. It's like people who flip their watches backwards on their wrist just to show off. Like if someone has it like that when they take a picture, I think that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
I do that for an actual like logical reason sometimes. And I probably shouldn't say this when I'm like in a source where people can find it, but sometimes in meetings I'll flip it backwards and then I'll put my hands on the desk like this so I can like watch like see the time, or like sometimes I'll play a little game on my watch if it's really boring. And then when I was in college, I would do it like that, and then I would put my hand under the desk and I would just look down, and I would, before a test, I would text myself like pictures of the answers, and then I would like swipe through the pictures on my watch to make sure I passed the test, which is really bad, but I never got caught.
Bro, I got no critique of you, man. Like I used to, before they got really crazy about it, those graphing calculators, like the Texas Instruments ones?
Yeah.
I learned how to program those so that I could basically program answers to equations, and it would give me like the whole notation, because like when I first started engineering, it's like, bro, how am I going to remember this fucking equation? And it pissed me off. Like you're never going to use it. It's just for the test,
It's going to be in a computer somewhere where you just push a button or just add it to an Excel spreadsheet and it's going to figure it out for you.
Right. Exactly. Thank you. Exactly. And did you see what Brian said? Those chips could be 500 each.
Well, I was looking, he bought 4 of them for a friend. I was like, that's a really good friend.
Yeah.
I'm assuming your friend paid you back, but still, like, let me go drop $1,600 on these chips for my friend. Like that's a really good friend right there.
Why though? There's no inherent value to those things, man. Like, see, let me go on like a brief little rant, but before I do, I want to say what's up to Josh Worth, Z Baird, and anybody else I missed. Sorry if I didn't see your name. It's the chat scrolling, but like, this is one of those things that always kind of bothers me about like hype culture, right? There's a lot of things in society that have like value, right? Like let's say a Mondrian, a Mona Lisa, a Leonardo da Vinci sketch, like whatever, right? Like things that literally you can turn around and it will act as an investment that you can like resell at a later time. And like to a small degree, we have stuff like that in this community.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, you spend $500 on that chip today, in 10 years, you're not going to be able to sell that thing for the cost of the titanium.
No.
Like, so why?
It's like a short-term investment flip. It's like when you buy short stocks. Like, hey, we're going to do this for 2 years and then sell it real fast. We're going to do it for 6 months and sell it real fast. But like, I think people do it a lot too with like sprint run knives.
Yeah.
You'll see people buy like 2 or 3 sprint run knives if they can.
Yeah.
And they flip them on Blade Binge Now or any sort of buy sell trade channels or whatnot and try and get, to me, it's not like, I don't know if it's worth like the emotional and like mental stress that it causes of like buying a couple of these knives for like usually $200 to $300. It's not like you're getting an obscene amount of money, but for some people it is.
It's true. It's true. Real quick, want to say what's up to my boy Cole and Winchester. Mm-hmm. What's going on, dudes? I know what you're talking about because I have a friend who plays that game with Legos, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, believe it or not, like with the Lego like Technics, the ones for like the cars and stuff like that, you can spend, so perfect example, Lego did a Technics of a Ferrari, right? It's one of the baddest ass kits that they've ever produced and all of this stuff. I think it was like $300-$400 for the kit. Yeah, like it's expensive, you know? Mm-hmm. But then here's the thing. Yo, Lancelot, what's going on, dude? Thank you for hopping in.
One Moon's in here too.
Oh yeah, One Moon. What is up, dude?
Joseph S.
Joseph, yo. So when Lego discontinues that Ferrari, and they also release like a limited edition book about like the process of developing that kit. Within the first year, that Ferrari will probably be selling on eBay for upwards of like $2,000-$3,000 if you have the book.
Wow.
Yeah. So like you buy it, keep it pristine, new in box, never open, never touched, throw it on a shelf, and that like $300-$400 investment will like go up by like 300%. You know,
that's pretty good. Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy, but like a lot of people are doing that. Like that same friend has another friend who's married, and his that friend and his wife, they'll go to Lego stores and they'll try and get those exclusives, and just they have a closet full of like, you know, high-end Lego sets that'll eventually like go crazy in prices, you know? So I get it, but it's like, dude, that's, I don't know. That's just, it's weird to me, you know? And like, why would you ever spend $2-3 grand on a Lego set ever?
I was gonna say it's weird, but like there's people who buy it. So I mean, if there's a market for it, someone's gonna do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. That is very, very true. If you find somebody who's willing to pay it, is it really wrong?
Yeah. You see Josh Worth, guy at the office, has about 40K in unopened Legos. That's insane. 40K in Australian money too is a pretty decent penny in US.
Mm-hmm. Dude, even if you were to say that the US is like, if you cut that by like 50%, you know, and say that's 20K US, that's still an insane amount of unopened Legos, you know. Yo, what's going on, Jerbs? How you doing? And have a good night, Cheeto. Get some rest, man.
Yeah, have a good night, Cheeto. Yeah, it's like 26 grand in US if it's 40K in Australian. But if it's 40K in US, It's like 62,000 Australian.
Yeah, which is nuts, man.
It's
absolutely nuts. And that, I think, really takes us into kind of like what you and I wanted to kind of chat about today, which is like kind of state of the market, steels, cost of knives, cost of manufacturing, like that whole space. And what made me really think about that a bit was Cole knows my thoughts on this because I kind of ranted about it earlier to him earlier in the week. But dude, there's a new Brian Brown Jagger that's like a special edition. And I don't know well, first of all, what do you think about the Jagger from like an I Make Knives perspective?
From an I Make Knives perspective, I like it, but like, are you talking about the V3?
Yeah, I mean, just as I think it's the V3. Yeah, the V3.
I like it from an I Make Knives perspective. It's hard because like I have there's nothing about the Jaeger that like draws me to it instantly.
Okay.
Personally. So like with like keeping that in mind, I look at the Jaeger and I think it's a good knife. I think it's got a lot of good things about it. Like it's got I've never held a V3.
Yeah.
But like it's got what I would assume are strong ergos, good ergos to it. It's got the kind of the straight back to it. It's got a really nice anchoring spot for that front index finger, and then a little bit of curve in the smaller part too to hold your hand. The one thing that I would say is like for me is it falls in that category of knives of like what's different about it, like what's different about this than a couple other knives. Like it's just a Wharncliffe, like sheep's foot Wharncliffe looking knife that has a very generic basic handle to it, and if it's not your thing, then like it's just like, I'm for the price of them, I'm probably never going to get one because it's not my thing. But then again, like I could go to one of my favorite knives, the Kunwu Mini Tao. Same thing. It's just a drop point generic knife, but I love this knife for some reason. So, like as a maker, like I see the aesthetics that they're going for. I think there's, I mean, obviously it's a very popular knife. It's a Brian Brown knife, but like for me, there's nothing that really kind of appeals about it. I will say some of the ones with like the bacon Damascus, I think it is, on the blade look really cool just because that Damascus looks cool.
Yeah.
But that's going to be a safe queen for me, and I don't have many of those or really a budget for those. So I don't buy them as often.
So like I'm with you completely. Like I look at that knife and I hate to say it, like nothing against Brian Brown at all, personally, you know. I think it's one of the most boring generic knives I've ever seen.
Yeah, the one thing I can say you can put towards it is it does have a distinct like blade that if you're not a knife person, like it's not a drop point, it's not a spear point, it's not a tanto. And I would say like with the American Tactical, like Tanto is bacon. It's probably one of the most popular in the tactical community. I could be wrong, but like I think the Tanto is probably one of the more popular knife shapes in the blade shapes in the tactical community. With like the small serration at the bottom. I'm thinking of like some of the K-bars you can get out there that are fixed blade and stuff like that and everything. And then outside of like the Tanto, like a drop point and like a spear point are probably like the two most common knives that people would look at and be like, oh yeah, that's a knife.
Yeah.
So the fact that he went with like a sheep's foot Wharncliffe, like you're obviously appealing to a knife community and not just like the general public.
Yeah.
But at $400 is where they typically come in, I think. It's just generic. It's just a knife.
Yeah, and that's really what got me about it, because Everyday City Carry got one to check out, right? And it's a special edition version. Doesn't seem to have any Damascus on it. It just has a whatchamacallit, a anode pivot and zircotite backspacer and pocket clip. And that knife is going for $525.
Yeah, see, that's way too much for
bonkers, right?
Yeah, I mean, like the market for something like that, like and I think we've talked about this too. The market for something like that is you are looking for someone who wants that knife. Like that's not going to be a knife that's not priced for anyone to pick up. That's priced for whoever's looking for that specific knife.
Yeah. And it's just M390 and it's like a coated M390 blade. Like that's literally it with the thing. And it's listed for $525. And for me, that's where I feel like some of the market is getting a little bit out of control personally. Now, see, that's a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's a heck of a lot more interesting.
It gives you like just the blade angle coming through here. You've got the nice angled swedge here. It has that faux integral, but it gives you kind of still that same feel. It's about the same size. I was looking at the dimensions on it. It's about the same size. It still has like the milled clip on the back and everything. The one that I'm looking at is on NC Blade, and it has Arctic Storm fat carbon on the inlay. This has got that kind of like blue Arctic Storm in here. And so like this is Devo's prototype of the Fireball with Stasa. Yeah. So this is a prototype of the Fireball with Stasa I picked up at one of the shows a while back. But like when I look at that, I think of like this, and like this is so much more appealing, and it's got so much more to it that outside of, and I hate to give Kevin and Colin more props for what they've done with Devo, but like really, like this is a really, really cool knife. Yeah. And I look at that Brian Brown thing, and like I would buy this any day of the week over that because of the angles and what they're putting into it, and just a little bit of the, it's like you take something. It's like you take something 90% of the way there, and you're like, okay, I've got a 90%, I'm done. It's like, yeah, but if you could go 110, it's going to be way better.
Yeah, exactly. Like, see, and that's where things really get like onto me, because when you start getting up into that 500 plus territory, you know, now you're competing with, say, something like this. You know, the Arcane, which so much more work and effort to manufacture, you know, and it literally, like, this thing takes significant number of like steps and milling, and you know, whereas that thing is slab-sided with basic lines.
Well, and like the artistry of something like that,
precisely,
versus something like this, like that is something that, like, we talk about pocket jewelry. That is something that is like a work of art, as well as a tool that you could use and take out with you, versus like something that's slapstick generic. And like, nothing against Brian Brown. Their knives are good knives. They're really good knives. And if you love them, then they're great for you. Like, that's what we talked about. Like, it's just not my style, but like they are really, really good at just being a knife. Like, that's what it is.
Dude, even like for literally $75 more, you're getting into, let's say, like a Sukhoi 4 by CKF, right?
Yeah.
All these dark sections are milled inlaid carbon fiber.
Ooh.
Right? Yeah. Like, let me set up my light here so you can actually like see it a bit more. By the way,
Stevie posted Maddie Uninut faction.
Russo, what's going on, dude? I saw you. I wanted to say hi real quick. But yeah, dude, I mean, look at this. That's milled inlaid carbon fiber. You have a Timascus pivot on both sides, Timascus pocket clip, and like this thing is a machine work of art. You also have a 4-inch M398 blade, for God's sakes, and this is literally $75 more. I see. To me, I don't understand how you can justify that as like a maker to like price the thing at that point, like that,
Question: do you know how many of those were made though?
Dude, it's a Knife Joy exclusive, so there's at least a decent run of them.
And so that's what I would say though, is like a lot of these Brian Brown, there's such a limited run that they're going to charge more because it costs more to make a limited run than it does a batch of 200.
Sure.
Like, as you know, with just getting all the Kaimanos in, like Kaimano probably would have been double the cost if you only made 50 of them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
if not more, just because of that.
Yeah.
But and I would assume that's where part of some of this is coming from too, is just the cost it is to make that many knives.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Palmer, I do. Give me 2 seconds.
I need a hand for scale.
Where is my premium?
If you guys haven't yet, you should follow Steve on Instagram. He's got a great collection, and there's a lot of really, really, really good knives to see there.
Yes. 100%. So, just for you, Palmer, this is the premium Grazioso. I have double extra large hands, and that's how it fits. So, if you have hands my size or smaller, medium, large hands, or not medium, large, extra large hands, you'll be good to go. It's designed to fit people with decently sized hands, So I guess kind of getting back on the topic, like that's where things have gotten a little crazy for me in the pricing spectrum,
Mm-hmm.
I think, to your point, is excellent, right? Like doing a low volume run immediately jumps up the price, like dramatically, so there is that element.
But if that's something you want, like if that's a knife you want, and you see that there's going to be a low volume run, that's something you have to like keep in mind. It's like, hey, I'm going to pay more because there's a limited number of them.
Yeah.
And that in itself is something that appeals to people. So sometimes someone, just because it's like a designer they like, or it's a steel they like or something like that or whatever, they'll say, hey, there's a limited run of these knives. Think of Shirro and all the lottos that they do for some of the stuff. Like there's some Shirros that I think are absolutely just ugly looking, but I want them because it's a limited run and I really like Shirro.
Yeah.
And then there's other Shirros that I'm like your aquatic. I mean, my aquatic. It's like, that's like one of my all-time favorite knives. And it's just an absolute beauty knife. And I would pay, if I had the money, I'd pay upwards of like $3,500 for an aquatic. And I know that's like the going price depending upon where the market is. At times I've seen them for $2,500 to $3,500 when that knife originally was probably what, $1,200, $1,300, $1,400.
No, I got mine from Doom for I think $1,200. And now the price, like you said, they're going anywhere from between $25 to $35, depending on the day, the year, the month, whatever.
And the buyer too, really too.
Yeah, 100%. Z-Baird, you are not wrong. But now, see, this also came up on the live today with Luke from CDC. There's also the flip side of the price conversation, where you're starting to see some of the knives like Kubi had the momentum on with like a discount code for like $28.
Mm-hmm.
And I commented, and rightfully so, even if I commissioned the Kubi and I did my MOQ and all of that stuff, there's almost no way that I would have gotten it for like much cheaper.
Yeah.
You know, at wholesale, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel there's like a little bit of a problem on the low end and the high end, because if you can get, let's say, a budget knife for $28 in AUS 10 with amazing action, you know, yada, 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 it's really, really hard for the people who are making knives like us and doing small businesses if we want to charge more. Like people, well, I can go buy this for $28. Like, why would I buy your stuff? And they don't see like the time, the effort. They don't understand the pricing behind the scenes. Like it gets really interesting, you know?
Yeah.
Real quick, Palmer, go watch Dutch Bushcraft Knives review of the new SE4 in S35. It's a good video. He's walking back to Earth, my friend, from Mars. Yeah, they do. They eat a lot of costs for sure, and a lot of it is stuff that kind of goes unseen. You know, all of the stickers, you know, all of the promotional stuff, the marketing. Like, you know, if you want to put a value on your personal time, you know, it's a lot more. You know, so it's you know, it's an interesting game, but a good one.
You okay if I share my screen real quick?
Of course, by all means.
So I think One Moon asked what the aquatic looks like, and rather than making you go find it or dig something out or whatnot, One Moon, this is the F3 aquatic. They only made 100 of them, and there were a bunch of other. I mean, there are others, F3 Shirros that have kind of that blue pattern, but this is the F3 aquatic in Vanex 37, and this was the one that I specifically really want. And there's only 100 of them made, so they're pretty penny when they are available because of that. But
yeah, they did a Elements series, so they have Earth, Water, Air, Fire. And each one, so they only did 400 knives total. They did steels to complement the theme of the knife as well. So that's why the aquatic has got Vanex. And it's awesome. I mean, like, if you guys ever have the chance to handle a Shirro at a show, I highly recommend it. The Shirros are something special.
Especially if you can get a liner lock Shirro, because some Shirros, some of the like frame lock Shirros, can be a little finicky because they're tuned so fine. It's like if you were to drive a finely tuned sports car.
Yeah,
you can't take it out and rally it because it's not tuned for that. It's not designed for that.
Yeah,
a Shirro frame lock is similar. You can't heavy hand it and hold it and put too much weight on the lock bar, because it's just you'll open it and you'll be like, man, this is tough, I don't like it. But Shirro frame locks are just perfect. They are so nice.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, man. That thing made me a big Shirro fan, and like I'm probably gonna own at least one or two more in my lifetime. You know, the lower end models for sure. You know,
Paul Wang. So nice of you to join us tonight, Paul Wang. Yeah. Oh, great. So happy you're here. Paul Wang, did you know that the Phoenix you're talking about was actually designed by Mattisfaction, who likes to eat penis with mustard? And if it's a penis without mustard, it's a penis he doesn't want.
Well, everybody, say what's up to Paul Wang and give us a hashtag Wang Gang in the chat, please. I will start us out right quick. We are all here for the Wang Gang.
I can't believe Mattisfaction admitted, a couple steps up, Mattisfaction admitted that he really likes mustard with phallic male-shaped pieces. I said it once, and then I felt bad, so I can't say it again.
No, don't feel bad. You can say it. Wang Gang's in the chat. I love you guys. Pedro, what's going on, dude? Hit us with the hashtag Wang Gang. Dude, yeah, man. So the world of knives is really interesting because of all of this like pricing business, you know. It's always fascinating for me to see like M390 knives going for like $5.
Oh yeah.
Now, one of the qualifiers I'll put on that is, you know, if you're giving me a hell of a lot more precision, then I'm okay with that. You know, like when you start looking at like a Chris Reeves or a Spartan Harsey or a Herman, you know, or a Shirro, like I will readily pay that kind of money because I know the precision that I'm getting for that money. Like that's where the money is going rather than the steel, you know?
This is Steve Clare's Herman, but yeah, this is M398, I believe.
Yeah,
it's 398. But I mean, it is so nice. Like I know where that precision is going, and like I know Steve uses this knife, and I've used it and carried it with him now since he's allowed me to have this. And I mean, yeah, I'll gladly pay $600 to $900 for this because I know where it's going. I also know like the size of this knife and the amount of material and crafting that goes into this, and like
and the milling and all of that stuff. Did he send you both or just the one?
I got just the one.
Okay.
But he also, and I could probably figure it out because he sent me the link to it. He also sent me or let me borrow this one.
Oh yeah.
And this is probably one of my favorite knives now that like, especially that he let me borrow it.
Yeah.
It is like a perfect size for my hand. The design, the style, the fit, everything. This thing is amazing. Steve, whenever you want to sell this, let me know. I probably won't have enough money to buy it, but I'll try.
Which one is that?
I have to look. He sent me a link. He sent it to me on Instagram because he told me and then I forgot. And I was like, hey, Steve, can you send this? And he did.
That Herman Dragonfly that you showed earlier, and the smaller one, the name of who is kind of escaping me at the moment, dude. The Hermans will forever have a special place in my heart, which thanks to Steve Clare for sharing that. I mean, dude, they are incredible. And if you get a chance, ask him to check out the R&H knives.
R&H?
Yeah.
All right.
This is the Tasca 2 with a kind of like drop point style blade. It's actually not technically a drop point. It's actually a really fascinating blade style. But he has another one that's more of like a Warncliffe pattern, and they're incredible too. A little bit on the smaller side than the Dragonfly,
Yeah,
the Herman, but so comfortable, so well made, like unbelievable stuff. What up, Stephen Wallace? Welcome, dude. Palmer. Dang, everybody's 100% going for Maddie right now. Dude.
Have you ever had a McNeese?
No, I haven't. And they literally just posted earlier today that they are going to be releasing the V2s soon. And that caught my attention.
Yeah. I'm curious. McNeese, are McNeese on washers?
Ooh, I don't know. Stevie, you have a McNeese. Is it washers or is it bearings?
Because it's a harder like use knife. And to me, it's like a tank knife. It's not like, but it's not like a Rosie, but it's in the category of like a Rosie, like not the cost. So McNeese are on bearings. Thanks, Transparent.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, because they mentioned they're switching over to Delrin ceramic bearings in the announcement today. I totally blanked on that. Sorry.
Steve, Claire, while you're still here, before you disappear, can you in the chat remind me what this knife is?
It looks like a Keynesen, but those holes are like Tom Mayo inspired for sure. What's up, Lauren? How you doing, man?
What's up, Joshua? Bearings, bro. I've got skiffs in 3.5 and 3 inch. Cool.
Nice. Yeah, dude, those McNeese have definitely got my attention. I only handled one for like 30 seconds at Blade Show Atlanta because their booth was busy.
Warming.
Yeah, and like they were, I think, sold out of the one I would have been interested in. So I was like, kind of, what can I do? Yeah, that was the announcement today. Is that they're going to be like almost 100% USA made. They're doing ceramic ball bearings, and
cool.
They updated the pocket clip. The thing that's really
what's it going to do to the price?
Good question, because that's already like a $5 knife, know. But this is one of the things that I feel is earlier with Luke. We were talking about. He wanted to talk about the different categories of knife, like budget to premium, right? And the price points. And I told him, I said, we need to make a 4th category just for American-made knives, because like it's a completely different world in terms of pricing. But to me, they're worth it. Like I love American-made knives more and more. There's just a feel to them that's different than everything else out there. Do you agree?
I agree 100%. It's like one of the main reasons I want to get a Harsey is like after like a couple breakfasts with Stevie and handling his, I was like, I really want one so bad. They're so cool. But when you get your hands on an American made knife like CRKT, like I wanted this knife for the longest time, and then when I finally got my hands on it and was able to like hold it, carry it, use it, love it, it feels different.
Yeah,
it just feels different. It's like, I want a Horsey. Can I get a Horsey? But it just feels different, and that's why like it's hard to say, and I would be interested to wonder if someone from Canada felt the same way about like Grimsmo knives. Like if they when they hold a Grimsmo, they're like, oh, it was made in Canada, it's great, it's something else. Or if someone from like the UK, if they get like a Harcy, or if they get like a Hogue, or if they get like a CRK or something like that, if like, man, it's an American made knife. Or if that's just like psychologically in our mind because we're Americans. Dude. CMF Mac. That's what it was. Thank you.
Nice.
CMF Mac.
Nice. Yeah, dude. It's God, I would like to say that the patriotism doesn't factor, you know.
I think it does.
Yeah, you know.
At least for me.
Like, but here's the thing. It's funny you mention that, because like one of the things that I've been kind of low key working on is understanding, like, okay, the way my brain works is I see patterns in things like a lot, you know, like trend patterns and kind of things like that. And it's what I used to do when I got out of school, was like trend and future forecasting kind of stuff. When you look at American tactical knives, or like a lot of just American made knives, there is a pattern to their construction, you know? So you're going to get a bent metal pocket clip almost categorically. There's almost no manufacturers in the US who do a milled pocket clip. That's starting to change a little bit with Luft concepts, but predominantly almost everybody does a bent metal pocket clip. Almost, again, categorically, you see the use of phosphor bronze washers over bearings. There's very few exceptions to that, and now it's more the EDC side of American made that are starting to venture that way. So you have like McNeese, TRM, and American Blade Works, and I'm sure the new Luft, like American made one, is going to run on bearings, right? But those harder use ones, like the Harcy, the CRKs, always on washers, right? That's part of the feel. One of the third thing that you see almost universally across the board is no internal milling on the scales.
Yeah.
So you get something that feels a little bit hefty for the size, generally speaking, right?
Yeah.
And then you also tend to see almost predominantly open style construction with standoffs. There's very few that kind of break that trend, you know. Strider being one of them, but it's more out of necessity for how they do their stop, internal blade stop, right? And then last but not least, what was you almost exclusively see thumb studs.
Yeah.
Thumb studs and thumb holes. You rarely see like flipper tabs or front flippers or any of that stuff. It's all slow roll and thicker blade steels. They tend to be at least 3.5 millimeters, with the exception of ABW and TRM, you know? So like there's a pattern to how they're all built, which is kind of interesting. When you get into mass manufacture like Benchmade and Spyderco, they break those rules, but like a lot of this stuff is still kind of kept. You have open construction, washers, bent metal pocket clip, you know?
I was going to say, even in Spyderco, I mean, you've got open construction on, I'd say 90% of Spydercos. Yeah. You've got the hole. I mean, that's the Spidey hole. It's what they're known for on a lot of that. And then a lot of Spyderco clips are kind of I'd say probably 50-50, but they're open. A good majority of the early ones, especially, had that kind of like flat bent metal, versus something that was milled or like a wire clip or like a deep carry fold over or something like that.
Yeah.
And Benchmade is almost exclusively been like thumb stud. Like they don't have many flipper tabs at all. They've almost exclusively been like thumb studs forever. And open construction on a lot. You break that with some of like the Osborne, how it has like the backspacer on some of those, and more recently with, obviously you take OTFs out of it, but like more recently with some of the design, the way that design has come with like the like almost the faux integral like earlier. You've seen that on some, but
it's very interesting. Even what's funny is even ZT will break this a little bit, but not frequently. They will sometimes throw in backspacers, but a majority of their knives will have the bent metal pocket clips. All of my Cecchini ones all have bent metal pocket clips, thicker blade stock. They hit all of these sort of touch points of what make like an American knife an American knife. It's really interesting.
I'm thinking of like Hinders too. I mean, a lot of Hinders have the bent metal. They're gonna have more of a flipper tab, but that's more of like a Hinder design to it. But then like they're chunky tank knives that are just gonna like last.
Exactly. I mean, this is a ZT Hinder. So like it follows, it's almost like a rule set, so for me, I think it's the combination of those factors that ultimately make the American knives feel the way they do versus like you very rarely see liner locks. For example. You very rarely see weight lightning, like across the board. Even like the American designers who make stuff overseas, right? Like Demko.
Yeah.
He doesn't follow that thought process to completion, So it's very interesting.
Where's Snex? Like the actual Snex, not the.
He's in Asia somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like, I think I don't know if he's Taiwanese or Pacific Islander. I'm almost 100% sure he's not Japanese.
Yeah.
Excellent question, Brian. Excellent question. I do not know. Yeah. It's funny too, because I was talking about, like, in my American-made tactical knives video earlier today, like Emerson runs his 154 CM at 57 to 59 HRC. Which is like crazy, it's nuts low for sure. There you go. Yeah, Snex is from he's Malaysian,
Okay.
Yeah.
So 57 to 59 HRC is great when you're using like a softer metal like 8CR13 MOV.
Yeah.
Like we're using something like that, but when you're using like MagnaCut, you're using Nitro V, you're using 154, you're using S30V. Like you want something a little bit higher to hold that hardness.
Yeah.
You start getting into like steels higher than the 59 HRC. You hit the 60s and the mid 60s and stuff like that. You're most likely buying premium steels. So like when I hear people that are doing like 57 to 59, immediately in my mind I'm thinking, okay, it couldn't take the heat treat without having imperfections or without having some. So that's why it's like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah. And it is totally a financial decision, you know?
154 cm. Why not use CPM 154?
It is. See, and this is, you know, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. It's just one of those things, man. Like with the American manufacturers, you definitely have to deal with more quirks in that regard, for sure. I lovingly call them quirks. Oh man, here's one for Brian, because I know he's in the chat. There you go, Brian.
That's nice.
20 CV hinderer. Brian's gonna have a conniption. I did actually offer to send this to Brian when he was having his back and forth with him, so he could have like an independent knife to HRC test. You know, he didn't take me up on it, but I've always been curious as to what this thing's been heat treated at. I haven't sharpened it, so I don't have any experience with like how it feels, but it is a very stylish fixed blade. I gotta say that, you know? Yeah, I agree. Dude, I would even prefer it in like S35, because S35 at 61 HRC has got amazing toughness for the category, you know?
The other thing to think about too, though, like when you think about HRC and what you're using your knife for, like you may not need 62 HRC. You may not need 59 HRC. Like HRC is measured by a common measured amount of weight from diamond scratching or denting the blade.
Yeah.
And so like diamond is the toughest thing naturally known out there for us to find. So like if you're going to go and use your knife for like roofing and cutting tiles, then yeah, get a really high HRC. But if you're using your knife for opening boxes like the majority of us are, like you can get by with the 57 to 59. So I understand why some of them don't, but if you're going to call your knife a hard use knife, you should definitely make it able to withstand hard use and not be soft.
Yeah, well, see, the argument I understand for like the softness is it will bend, not chip, and with the easier sharpening, you can bring it back from that like deformation a little bit easier. I believe that's the argument. But to be frank, I've never gotten to the point where that's an issue.
Yeah.
And truth be told, if I really wanted like a hardcore toughness steel, I'm okay. In the stainless realm, I'd be using Crewware first and foremost, right? I wouldn't be using most of these other steels. I'd either be using Crewware or 14C28N, right? And if I wasn't using stainless, and that's if I was using stainless, but I would prefer to use a non-stainless steel if I really needed something to be super tough. Like at the end of the day, you know, like I'd use like 012 steel, you know, like it will do the toughness job better than everything else. So it's like, I don't know, the matter is kind of moot for me on some level. It's like, man, all of this, like I get it. You want to get what you paid for, and I'm one of those people, 110%. Like if you tell me it's one thing, make it right, you know?
Yeah.
Which, dude, even for me with Kaiser, part of the extra cost, for example, for my kimonos comes because I asked them to update the heat treat process, because they were heat treating it to 59 to 61, and I asked them to modify the protocol to give me 60 to 62.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, because 61 HRC is the sweet spot for S35VN, so I asked them just to shift it that like 1 HRC, and that would actually make a measurable difference in performance, you know, instead of being like 60 to 59, which puts you below. At least I'm like one above, one below, which is what you want, you know.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's part of the interesting game of things. I like Kevin's philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Kevin, aka Devo Knives, aka Lefty. He doesn't even fuck around with the whole HRC game and the back and forth with the manufacturers. He's just like, dude, I'm not going to try and convince a manufacturer to give me 64 HRC Magna Cut. They're going to heat treat it to 59 to 61 HRC. So why not just get a steel that works optimally in that HRC range?
Yeah. I mean, that's a smart method to do it too. Like if they're just going to hit that, then find a steel that works good in that area rather than try and go back and forth and deal with the headache.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Someone just posted, Craig, had a maker never heard of today, made steel I don't know of, Linton Cutlery and ATS 34. It's definitely budget knife, but looks quirky, cool. Anyone know the maker of steel? Linton knives are made in Taiwan.
And ATS 34 is an old school steel, actually. You don't hear about it anymore, but it's basically a Japanese equivalent to like 154. It's in that range. A lot of custom makers like to use it back in the day because it was really, really easy to work with and took a really nice polish, you know.
Linton does OEM work. That's the only reason I know them, because when I was looking at stuff, I was trying to find like the cheapest OEM service that I could, and then I started looking elsewhere for other stuff. But Linton does OEM work. Apparently, they have their own knives too, but that's how I found them, as someone who does OEM work in Taiwan.
Gotcha. Man, dude, it's funny actually, like looking for OEMs and dealing with them. So recently I ordered 2 new prototypes for designs that I want to release later this year. And I talked to Riyadh. And so realistically, if I release one of the knives, I'm maybe lucky if I get it out this year. But their price quotes actually were better than I expected. I can tell you off, like, you know, behind the scenes, you know.
Yeah.
But they are not as expensive as you may think, you know.
I think the hard thing is, that's good to hear actually, because Riyadh makes really good stuff. But I think the hard thing, and the reason why I was trying to find something, is there's so many people in the community right now making knives that there's so many projects. Like if you reach out to Kubi, Kaiser, like you reach out to a lot of these well-known companies that we've all got knives from and started with and whatnot, like they've got so many projects going on, it's going to take a while to get your stuff made. So that's why it's like, if you can find someone who does it good and isn't being used, you might find like a gold mine to get something faster than you would with Kubi or Riyadh. You got to be careful, because what I found with some of the prototypes that we did was you got to be careful, because you never know what their QC is going to look like.
Yeah, and to me that's really on some level what you pay for in choosing one of those factories. you know.
Yeah.
But I will say, to their credit, Kaiser delivered faster than I was expecting. They are actually completely on time, for
Awesome.
pre-order to production. And so far in the QC process, like I mentioned, I've only found one real true dud. It had detent lash and XYZ,
Paul Wang, I think you're a little biased.
Yeah, you definitely are biased, Paul Wang.
But I mean, that's the other thing too. Like, if you go with one of those other smaller OEMs or whatnot, you're probably going to spend way more time in the QC and fixing like things that are not like catastrophic to a knife. But like, hey, you may have to center more knives than you want to. You may have to add a little extra Loctite to some of the screws. Like, you may have to make sure things are stuck in place so the pivot doesn't work its way out or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the, but like, to me, that's the like the value, or at least why I ended up going with Kaiser versus, let's say, QSP or one of the other, OEMs, is because, like, I'm like, okay, I've seen what they've done. They've done excellent work. I mean, everybody that I handed prototypes to, and prototypes are usually not built to the same QC status as production knives. Like, everybody who handled my prototypes was like, oh, dang, I didn't think that this was in Kaiser's wheelhouse,
Yeah.
There are some things that they could step up and do that would put them over the top, doing their, like, machine grinding a little bit more, like, aggressively, less soft, to get those grind lines would be really nice. Offering a few more steel options would be really nice, but so far I've been very happy. I can't deny that, so I will definitely be working with them more in the future, but I wanted to give Riyadh a try and see, because I'll say this was an unexpected surprise. There were people who were less inclined to buy my knives because they came from Kaiser.
Really?
They did not. They said it was a budget company, and because of that, they did not believe that the quality could translate to my production.
See, I think that is, I think that's part of the downside of the community as well. I'm gonna put that out there, because there's a lot of us who look at knives and go through and put our opinions out there, but they are exactly that, opinions.
Yeah,
they're not facts. And just as, like, you're going through QC and looking at your knives, there's going to be the one or two duds probably in the batch, but the majority of them are going to be good. And so, like, I've got a video on my channel of a Sencut knife, and I bought two of them, and for some reason, whatever it was, back to back, I got two trash knives of the exact same model, and I haven't bought a Sencut since, and I don't trust Sencut, but I love Civivi and Wii, but I also know there's a lot of people who have really good Sencuts, and out of me not trusting Sencut, another YouTuber, Just the Tip EDC, customized Ferrum Forge Sencut model and sent it to me, and it's one of my favorite knives now. It's one of my favorite budget knives to carry. I probably never would have bought it because my first experience with Sencut was bad, but that showed me, like, hey, look, there's good in this as well. And so when I hear stuff like that, it kind of, like, it makes me, like, think, like, man, how many doors have we closed, or how many doors are people closing on themselves because of one thing they've seen on YouTube about a bad experience with a knife, and not moving forward to being like, hey, just because Van Gogh was trash until he was dead. And then all of his stuff was amazing. So like one experience doesn't relate to what the future could hold is what I'm saying. Like what you have in that initial experience of trash, garbage, this isn't going to ever be valued at what it is more than that, could not be more wrong, because the future is going to be different than what you experience in your past, and you can't. No one has a crystal ball. No one can say what's going to happen. Just like no one knew Van Gogh was going to blow up and have amazing paint that was like revolutionary and history changing. So,
dude, for the car guys, like I'll put it this way, right? Like most people would not want, like they would buy a Ferrari if they made a budget version. Like if there was a $20,000 Ferrari, people would jump on that shit left and right, you know? But nobody wants to buy a $250,000 Honda.
Yeah.
Now what's funny is that exactly that kind of scenario happened, right? Mm-hmm. Honda made the NSX, mm-hmm. and the NSX came out and trounced Ferraris of the time. Like fundamentally destroyed them in all categories, you know? But because it was a Honda and nobody believed that Honda could do that kind of quality, mm-hmm. at the time, it was a mild market success. It was never as massive as it could have been. And now on the secondary markets, mm-hmm. you cannot find a used NSX for like less than $80K, which is crazy. You're talking about like a 60 to 80,000 mile car for $80K. You know?
Usually it's still trash though.
Yeah, exactly. And it's kind of funny because they've kind of brought it back with like the 296. The 296 is kind of a modern day Ferrari Dino, but we won't go there, you know? Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you, Stevie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. But you're 100% right. Like, how many people are missing out on a good thing because of their perception, you know, or their unfounded belief? You know what I mean? Like,
and I think you hit it on the head there, though. Like, it is that perception, but like the stupid thing about it is perception paints reality.
It does.
Like, perception paints reality for anyone and everyone. So, like, I could look at. I will talk about it a million times for the rest of my life. I love Kunwu knives. I just do. Yeah. So like I look at Kunwu knives and I'm like, this is great. I love it. The value's there, the budget, it's a good price. It's got good quality, everything. I know there's people who just don't like Kunwu knives and they're just like, yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. And it's garbage. It's a garbage knife. And like my perception is it's one of the best value knives you could get. And there's other people who are like, it's trash. It's not made in America. It's not here. It's not that. And like, that's cool. Like that's your opinion and I'll take it. But that's 100% like that perception paints reality. And I think you have to be open to seeing and hearing a different perspective. And I use this in almost every facet of my life, but if I were to draw a picture for you, you got two perspectives. Y'all are going to hate this, and so I apologize. You got two perspectives. You got a circle and you got a rectangle. One person says, I see a circle. And one person says, I see a rectangle. And then you've got someone with different perspective who comes up and says, that's the same thing. And you go, there's no way that could be the same thing. And then you look and you go, well, there's your circle and there's your rectangle.
100%.
So what's your perception? Like, how are you looking at it? And that's going to paint your reality of what you see.
Well said. Yeah, well said, dude. Like, it's sorry, I was just laughing at at Palmer.
Yeah, I was reading it too.
No, but that's exactly right. I'll say this: the frustrating part on some level, as a businessman, is you simultaneously need to educate people to change their perspective, but also hear their perspective and know you're not going to be able to convert everybody, right? So
Yeah.
I can sit here and talk and explain to you why Kaiser quality is damn near as good as Riyadh, right? But there are going to be those people out there who are just like, if it's not Riyadh made, I'm not willing to pay it, right?
Yeah.
And like that Brian Brown Jaeger is a great example because I believe that's Riyadh made. If it's not, it's Best Tech made, but regardless, people are willing to spend $400, $500 on a Riyadh or Best Tech made product versus a Kaiser made product.
Yeah.
So it's one of those. That's one of the reasons why I'm excited to get the Kimono into people's hands, because I want them to handle it and say, oh crap, this is on a different level than I was expecting, you know? So
on the car topic,
yeah.
Are you familiar with the Shelby supercar? So I went to school with Cooper Shelby, the son of the guy who invented the Shelby supercar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, or who engineered it and designed it and stuff.
That is badass, man.
It's from Tri-City, so it's from Richland. They're from Richland, Washington.
Yeah.
And so I went to originally community college with Cooper Shelby, and he played baseball. We talked about stuff a lot of times, but yeah, his dad was Jared Shelby.
So you know the guy who did the car styling for that? His name is Jason Castriota.
Mm-hmm.
He graduated from my school.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like I have pictures with him at Pebble Beach when they debuted that at Pebble Beach, and yeah, that thing is amazing. You know, like absolutely nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the car. I've never like done anything with it or been in it or sat in it. But Cooper and Colton. Cooper went to church with us. Him and his wife now went to our church, and then Colton is actually the one that played baseball and went to school with Colton.
Dang,
but
that's sick, man.
Mm-hmm. I had no idea who they were either. They were just very down to earth. Like, oh yeah, my dad created this supercar. Like, oh cool. like I remember friends of ours invited like Colton to come play baseball with us and stuff, and we're like, oh, this is so cool, this is awesome. And then like 6 months after knowing who he was, I found out who he was, like who his dad was, and I was like, no way. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. It's the first thing I'm telling people, like, hey, you should see the car my dad has. But
bro, it's like casually, oh yeah, you know, we just happened to make a freaking supercar capable of like, you know, 270 miles an hour. Like
at one point, the fastest car on Earth.
Oh crap, I was wrong, dude. They did a one-way top speed of 331 and a two-way average of 316.
Fastest car on Earth at one time. And it might still be, but yeah.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah. Can you imagine like going 300 miles an hour?
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that in a car. I'll do it in a plane.
Right.
I'm not doing that in a car. Nope. I've gone faster than I need to on a track. I've gone faster than I need to on a track on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And then I did it in a car, and I felt less safe in the car than I did in the motorcycle, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. I took a couple like riding classes, and that made me, I think, feel a little safer on the motorcycle. Okay. The car, I grew up driving a car. Like you drive a car almost every day. So I was like, oh, I could do this. And once you get to speed, it's a different beast. And so that's why I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do this in a car.
Dude, real quick, what's up, bro, man? I have some feedback for you, my friend. I was able to read everything, and I will chat with you very soon about this. I've just been super busy, uh, but dude, that's really really interesting because I've been at the limits as a passenger in a car around the track. I've done track days, and whatchamacallit, I've ridden a motorcycle. Motorcycles scared the ever living crap out of me, bro. Like the first time you go 25 miles an hour and you look down and you see the ground, you're like, I'm going light speed. What is going on?
Now try going like 140, and then you're just like, it's yeah. See, I think if I was a passenger with like a professional driver, I'd feel totally fine.
Yeah.
But it was like I don't trust my. I think on a bike because it is so much in tune with your body and your movements and how you're going. I felt more in control rather than like this, and so. I think that's what it was for me.
Dude, I don't think my butt could pucker high enough into my body going 140 miles an hour on a bike. Holy crap. Dude, going 140 to okay, so the fastest I've ever gone in a car that I know of that I've confirmed, right, was 160 miles an hour.
The fastest I ever went on my bike was only 119. But I was on the track with people who were going like 140, and I was just like, oh, well, I wasn't on the track with them. Yeah. They were going 140, and then I would take my lap and do stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was insane. One moon, I didn't go 45, but I went about 30, 37-ish or so on a longboard going down a hill, and then you get those speed wobbles. Oh no, that's not good. But 45 on a skateboard is pretty intense.
That's sketchy, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't imagine going even more than like 15 miles an hour on a skateboard, let alone doubling that. Jesus Christ.
I'm at the point in my life where like the scooters that you can jump on, like the electric scooters that go like 10 to 12 miles an hour, I'm like, this is perfect. This is a good speed.
Yeah, dude. I'm seeing all these people with like e-bikes and stuff like that. They're like, yo, this thing can go 80 miles an hour. And I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, dude, I don't, I'm not going to ride that thing on the freeway. You know, like, what's the point?
That's intense, Palmer.
Dude, yeah, 215 is, because that's what I was going to say. Like, between 120 in a car and 160 in a car, things change dramatically. Like, you have to look ahead so much further and plan your movements so much more. Like, outside of a racetrack, I do not recommend going that fast, like, ever, you know? Or like a closed course kind of scenario where you're controlling things. Like, there's too many variables. Even at like 110, 120, like on public roads, I don't recommend to people unless you have training or background. You know what I mean? Like,
215 is like F1 status. Like Formula 1 is like 2 to 230. Like that's insane. That's insane.
Dude. Yeah, see, yeah, exactly. Palmer did it on a close course. Like that makes sense, you know? Yeah. It's welcome to my everyday on the highway, Lauren. Yeah, LaFerrari is a different ball game for sure. And yeah, it's dang, man. I definitely miss going to the track though. It's a lot of fun. It's a heck of a lot of fun. It's just, it gets expensive between tires and gas and, you know, maintenance. It's oof. What up,
We all
man?
need to find a cheap hobby.
Tell me about it, dude.
We all need to find a cheap hobby because all these hobbies are expensive. But
Dude, I had to stop like playing around with watches because like I couldn't afford it between cards, pews, and knives. Like any finances I have are just obliterated, you know?
Yeah.
Like any disposable income I have is obliterated. Like I was just talking to my dad about it. I have a high-speed steering rack for one of my Subarus, and like I've literally had that thing for 6 months because it's going to cost like $1,000 to install it, you know. And I'm just like, priorities, dude. I got to be into the business. I've got other things that I need to take care of, like maintenance and life-wise. That like, okay, I just keep putting like $100 here, $100 there into a fund for it, and it's like, okay, when I get, you know, the 1,000 put aside for it, then I'll pull the trigger. But before then, it's like I can't just drop it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. My only like big expense lately that was a bit of like an impulse was just the Harsey, because it was $375, and
I was gonna say, is that the one that was on Blade HQ for like $370 or something?
Yeah. Just like I saw that and I was just like, I'm never gonna find the knife for that price again. Not new. You know?
No.
So I just had to pull the trigger. I was just like, there's never going to be another opportunity for this, so I may as well. And then that set back the steering rack a little bit. So maybe in another month or so, maybe we can do the steering rack. We'll see. Yeah.
Someone asked a little bit ago how the gym was going. How's it going?
Week what? I'm on week 2? No, week 3, I think, of it, and it's going really good. I'm definitely, there's some things that I'm doing where I'm clearly getting stronger, particularly like my knees, which is what needed to step up. And yeah, man, like I'm liking it. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm loving it as of yet. I know that's going to come, right?
Yeah.
The addicted, I can't live without this in my life sort of feeling. But I know that it's just a matter of doing it enough times that you get there. And I'm eagerly looking forward to that point, you know. Now I do 3 days a week, around like 5:30 I start getting ready and just do it, you know, because I know I'm going to be really pissed at myself if I don't, you know. One moon, that is a very subjective question, man. There's expensive, but fanciest may be that Sukhoi 4 that I showed earlier, just with the intricacies and the details that have been put in it. And it's not the most expensive, but it's definitely one of like the all-around nicest, most beautifully crafted knives that I have, period, you know. So I think that's probably the best answer, you know. Let's see. Yeah, I hear you, Brian, man. It's part of the addiction, you know.
I told my wife 6 knives this year, which is 1 knife every 2 months. And there's like pre-orders and like knives that I committed to like late last year and stuff. And those are coming in and she's like counting those knives. And so I'm like, no, those are already paid for. So that doesn't count towards the knives now. Like I have to buy them this year for them to count. And she's like, well, if it was a pre-order that didn't finish purchased until this year. And I was like, no. That's not what I'm counting. And so very, very tricky.
Yeah, tell me about it. Like, whenever I show up to hang out with my dad and I have a new knife, he kind of looks at me a little sideways. He's like, did you get something new?
No, not at all.
I'm having a observational people or observant people in your life.
Yeah.
And the latest one that I had that with was this guy, and I was like, no, I paid for that thing in May of last year. Okay. Like I'm finally getting to enjoy it. Don't take that away from me. And
there's something to be said though, like when you wait for a knife and it finally arrives and you're just like, this is so nice.
Yeah.
It stinks when it's the reverse. You wait for a knife and then you get it and you're like, this is a catch and release. Like it wasn't that good. Although like I've only ever sold 3 knives, I think, so I don't have many of those experiences. But
yeah, for me, I the ones that I've been releasing lately are more of my budget knives. I'm either giving them away or the kind of the more expensive ones I am trying to and will continue to try to sell, just because I know I'm not going to carry them. Once you again start fussing around with stuff like this, or you start making your own, you kind of just want to carry your own shit because you made it. It's to exactly what you like and what you enjoy. So I
have a good night, Lauren.
Night, Lauren. Yeah, it's one of those things, And there are a bunch that I'm still holding on to, but like I also have really amazing people like that occasionally send me stuff, and I won't get rid of those because I never judge what anybody else does, but if it's a gift, I won't get rid of it.
Yeah.
It's just that's a personal thing for me. But yeah, to all of you guys who are talking about the gym, what's awesome is that there is a church by me who has been, and they only charge $5 a month.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Better than going to like a place like 24 Hour Fitness or one of the big name gyms that are charging crazy amounts of money. And sure, they don't have the range of machines, and I'm definitely not seeing the thoughts, like recording themselves exercise and stuff like that. But I'm there to work out. I'm not there as like a meat market thing. Nobody wants this big old pot of jelly right now. That's why we're going to the gym. And no, giveaway is not a gift. It's a giveaway. What does piss me off though is like if I give somebody a gift and then they flip and use it as a giveaway. I did that with one particular YouTuber, and I was a little pissed because I had 2 of one of my favorite knives, and he was like, "Oh, that's so awesome!" Blah 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 blah. I sent it to him, and he completely forgot about it and was just like, "What is this? This is a weird thing." And then he ended up giving it away. I'm like, That was a nail in the coffin in the relationship for me, for sure. But But yeah.
So I tell people a lot of times, like, I love getting gifts and giving gifts, but like I'm similar. Like, if someone's gonna give me something, I'm never gonna give it away.
Yeah.
So like I tell people a lot of times, like, hey, you don't have to send me anything. Like, your gratitude is all I want. Primarily because, like, I don't want to have to hold on to a bunch of stuff because I know I'm never gonna give it away, but then it's just gonna sit with me forever. And if it's like, unless you know it's going to be something I absolutely love, then yeah, cool, give it to me. But like, if it's just like, hey, I think they might like this, and it was like, cool, then send me a link, and if I like it, I'll buy it. But I don't want to keep something. Like, I do this with my mom and my sister all the time. I'm like, hey, that's great, I really love it. Now I'm going to keep it forever, and it's going to sit there forever because I'm not going to use it. Like, it's cool, and I'm very grateful you sent it to me, but I'm probably not going to use it. So, and I don't want to give it away or send it to someone. Like, I have a lot of knives that have been given to me that are like, they're like gas station Swiss Army knives or like spring assisted. Like, they are the epitome of budget knives and gas station knives, but they will be in my collection forever because I can tell you like who gave it to me, what holiday or birthday it came from. I'm like, I'll keep them because they meant something to me when they gave them to me. It's just, that's why I'm like, hey, that's cool. Just let me know next time because I'll tell you, like, oh, I probably don't need that. Just give me a card.
Yeah, exactly. What up, Neil McKenzie? What up, Mark Parks? How you guys doing? And no, I'm totally with you there. Like, a lot of times I tell people I don't want gifts, like, period, you know? Because I've gotten to the point, like, financially, mentally, emotionally, whatever you want to call it, like, I don't really need things, you know? What I really want is to spend time with somebody. Like, that's more valuable to me, you know? Like, I tell my the parents of my goddaughter that, for example, like, don't take her out and, you know, have her buy a gift for me. You know, she wants to send me a card, send me a card. But really, if I can have you guys come and visit, and like, I'll pay for dinner, you guys can stay with me, you know, they can crash in the guest room at my dad's house, you know, something like that, you know, because we all know each other, we're all family, you know. That to me is so much more valuable than spending $20, $30, $40 on a thing, you know. Like, so like, I don't know, for me, my view has always been like, time is the one thing that's truly limited in this world, so I would much rather have the time with you than the object, you know. Like, it kind of goes back to where we were starting talking about the value of some of this stuff, you know. It's like, $500 for a coin, don't get me the coin. Like, I don't want it. Even if I could flip it, like, I don't want it. You know?
I'm imagining someone like Two-Face just flipping the coin and like breaking his thumb every single time because it's just a titanium. But no, yeah, like, the experiences is what you want. Like, I want to experience life with you. My parents started doing this recently, like this last year or two, for like Christmases. They'll do like an experience for the family. Like, hey, we want to do something this summer. Like, we're gonna go rent a small house for 3 or 4 days. Perfect. Everyone come stay in a room, and we're gonna go to the beach as a family. Like, that's what we're doing for Christmas this year. And that's been, I think, way more valuable for our family than like gifts that in 3 years you're gonna forget about, you're gonna get rid of, you're not gonna use or whatnot.
Yeah, 110%. Like, my family started doing that a little while ago. Like, when my mom was still with us, you know, we just said, you know what? Let's take all the money that we were going to spend buying shit for one another, right? Put that into a pool and let's go somewhere. You know? And that's, to me, that's a much, much more enjoyable way to spend the holidays, you know? Like, and I don't know, it's more special because I remember those things, Like you said, I don't remember what gift I got in 2003 for Christmas. Like, I don't. And
I apologize to everybody that I keep snacking. It's what keeps me awake. So I got like a little bag of chips that I'm snacking on to stay awake.
No need to apologize. Actually, speaking of which, we hit the 11 o'clock hour. I think we need to switch over to your channel, my friend.
All right.
Yeah, let me make sure I put the link to your channel in the chat. And so what we're going to do, everybody, is we're going to keep the conversation going, and we're just going to head over to Work Knife's channel. So if you guys want to continue hearing us and being part of the conversation, we're going to be doing that over on his channel. So let me drop the link to his channel right there. Make sure also you guys are subscribed to Work Knife Balance, please. Hit the like button on this live stream. I would definitely appreciate you guys, doing that. But yeah, dudes, we'll be. Do you need a little bit of time? We can set it up and then make a smooth transition, or if you need like a bathroom break, we can do that too.
So, man. It'll probably be about 2 to 3 minutes until we get it set up, and then we'll see y'all over on this channel, on the other channel, on my channel.
Perfect.
Cool.
Alrighty, fellas. Thank you guys for being here. Come join us over on Work Knife's channel, and we will see you. Thank you guys again. I said that already, but brain dirt.